Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the Russia and Ukraine war. I've got big news to share with you. We have an education training facility, according to Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, that was hit inside of Poltava, which is a central town inside of Ukraine, struck by two ballistic missiles. We can see a picture here showing some of the damage. I've got video footage coming out for you as well. Apparently, this was an education training facility. It may have been used by the military at one point, but as far as I know, there was no military personnel in this building at the time. There was nothing but civilians. And we had a major attack here. This is probably going to be one of the deadliest attacks inside of Ukraine to date. And we've got reports of 49 people, unfortunately, that have been killed in this attack and 219 injured. Okay, so very, very massive attack here. There was also a hospital, from what I understand, nearby that was struck as well. I'll have a report from Volodymyr Zelenskyy that will give us some information regarding this attack. They have also opened a criminal proceedings investigation to figure out if maybe the Ukrainian air defense teams did not shoot down these missiles and why they did not. Obviously, there is air defense all over the eastern side of Ukraine, and this is kind of close to the Kharkiv region, but a little bit more central. We'll go over a map here in just a moment, but definitely a massive hit here. And again, probably one of the most deadly attacks inside of Ukraine to date since this war has began. So we've got a report from Volodymyr Zelenskyy coming out pretty soon. He's coming out and saying as well that Russia is going to pay for this strike inside of Poltava. So let's go ahead and jump into the news so I can start giving you this information. First, we're going to hop over to a map that I got pulled up for you just so you know where Poltava is located. So it is somewhat central Ukraine, but kind of close to the eastern front as well, okay? So not too far away from Kharkiv. We'll zoom in a little bit here. So yeah, it's not too far from Kharkiv, and then we've got Dnipro down here, Zaporizhia. So it is relatively close to the eastern front. Which would be, easily targetable by Russian ballistic missiles. But yes, there it is. There's Poltava right here coming under attack. Two ballistic missiles striking what we know as an education facility, training facility, inside of this major town of Poltava. Okay, we can see it's a pretty massive town. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on over to X now. I've got some video footage and information regarding this attack. Also, this is from Maria Drutska. Tragedy in Poltava. 41 people were killed, more than 180 are injured. The Russians struck an educational institution and nearby hospital with two ballistic missiles. So some of these reports take the numbers with a grain of salt because some of these reports are older. As you can see, this one was at 4:30 a.m. So it was just several hours ago at the time that I record this, but I'll give you some of the updated numbers here in just a minute. The attack happened just as people were evacuating to the bomb shelter. Okay, so apparently they had word that missiles were coming in. They were evacuating to the bomb shelter, and I guess they didn't have time to get down there, and these missiles ended up striking this building. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this video real quick. It's 8 seconds. Okay, so we can see in this video a massive hole in the side of this building, and just on the other side over here on the right is where the other angle of that picture that I showed you guys. So it looks like this missile maybe came in from the side and then exploded and blew out the other side of the building over here. We can see some damage on the other side. I understand the camera's kind of panning around a lot, but we can see all this rubble everywhere too. So massive, massive hit here in Poltava. Very, very unfortunate. And Volodymyr Zelenskyy is very upset by this attack. So here's that picture I was showing you guys. This is the most updated numbers that we have, probably about close to 2 hours ago at the time that I record this. Next to reports in Poltava, the number of dead as a result of Russian shelling reached 49 and 219 injured, the Ministry of Defense reported. This was reported by the Speaker of the Ministry, Dmitry Lazutkin, on air of the telethon. Okay, so they're coming out reporting. Here's a picture full screen for you in case you want to be able to see. So that's that hole in the side of the building we were looking at. And just look at this, guys. Massive damage. This whole building is blown out. On this side, and then over here we've got damage as well. So I don't know if this missile maybe came through and struck over here, or maybe this is one missile here and one missile there, but we do know a hospital was struck as well. And from what I understand, this hospital was a building nearby adjacent to this training facility, and it's not necessarily inside this facility, okay? So Very terrible news, guys. Let's go ahead and go over another report here from Maria Avdiva. Absolutely devastating news from Poltava. At least 47 killed, more than 200 wounded. The grief is overwhelming. A 3-day mourning declared in Poltava, and all of Ukraine mourns with them. Okay, so here's a picture. We can see definitely crazy amounts of damage there. I mean, this building is completely destroyed, basically, guys. So, very, very massive hit here by these ballistic missiles. Now, I don't know exactly which types of ballistic missiles were used. Typically, what we see in attacks like this is Iskander ballistic missiles, so I would assume it's probably Iskander, but it could be some other type of ballistic missile that was used here. And again, we can see massive, massive damage here on this building. So also, from Clash Report, heavy losses reported after Russian missile strikes on the buildings of Ukrainian Army's 179th Training Center of Signal Troops in Poltava today. So, see, again, we are seeing reports that this was an education training facility for Ukraine's army, which makes sense why Russia would attack this. But from what I understand, there were no troops here in this building at the time, that it was strictly just civilians. So it says here, excuse me, official death toll is at 41 with more than 180 injured, many still under the rubble. See, this was an older number that we're getting here, but as we understand, 49 were killed, unfortunately. I think it's 219 injured. Unofficial numbers are way much higher, okay? So I was hearing some reports as well that the numbers could be in the hundreds in terms of people being killed, unfortunately, in this attack, and maybe upwards of 500 that were actually injured. So there was definitely a lot of people inside this building when it was struck. So we've got another video to check out here and a picture, so let's take a look. Okay, so yet another angle here that we can kind of see. I know these trees are kind of blocking too, but we can see this is definitely a very big facility coming under attack by these ballistic missiles. So these must have been very heavy missiles that struck this building, considering the amount of damage that we're seeing. So very crazy to see that. Let's go ahead and head to a picture here as well that we have, and we can see lots of the rubble on the ground. Some emergency crews here trying to help out with the people that are probably trapped inside. From what we understand, there are still people inside this building as well, according to Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, saying that people are still trapped inside and they're trying to get people that are trapped under the rubble. So this is absolutely a horrible situation, and hopefully they can rescue as many people as possible from this tragedy here, okay? So next up, as well from next, 3-day mourning has been declared in Poltava region since September 4th. State Bureau of Investigation of Ukraine has opened criminal proceedings over the missile attack on a training center in Poltava. This was reported by RBC Ukraine sources and law enforcement agencies. So they have opened a criminal investigation, most likely to see if, why did the Ukrainian air defenses not take these down? How did these missiles get into their country? Because obviously it struck a major education and training facility here in Poltava that is obviously used by Ukraine's military. So why was it not protected? And obviously, again, like I told you guys, this is definitely one of the deadliest attacks inside of Ukraine since this war began. And many of the people that have been either injured or killed in this attack were civilians, okay? So very, very big attack. All right, so also from next to Zelensky's full video message: the Russian scum will surely pay for this strike. I ordered a full and prompt investigation into all the circumstances of what happened. All necessary services are involved in the rescue operation. I'm grateful to everyone who has been helping and saving lives from the very first moments following the strike. The Russian scum will surely pay for this strike. We continue to urge everyone in the world who has the power to stop this terror. Ukraine needs air defense systems and missiles now, not sitting in storage. Long-range strikes that can protect us from Russian terror are needed now, not later. Every day of delay, unfortunately, means more lost lives, he wrote in his Telegram channel. So obviously, he's got a point here, okay? He's been calling for more air defense units inside of Ukraine to protect the skies. And also, one of the biggest things we've been discussing many, many times now is that, Ukraine wants to be able to go after these airfields so they can strike these fighter bombers that are dropping glide bombs all over their territory. And this would stop a lot of the attacks from taking place. So obviously, Volodymyr Zelenskyy is very upset by that. So go ahead and take a look at what he has to say.
Дорогі українці, українки, отримав попередні доповіді щодо російського удару по Полтаві. За наявною зараз інформацією, 2 балістичні ракети, влучання по території учбового закладу і сусідньої лікарні. Була частково зруйнована одна з будівель Інституту зв'язку. Люди опинились під завалами, багатьох вдалося врятувати, більш ніж 180 людей поранені. На жаль, багато загиблих. Станом на цей час відомо про 41 загиблого. Мої співчуття всім рідним та близьким. Я доручив провести повне та оперативне розслідування всіх обставин того, що сталося, залучені всі необхідні служби до рятувальної операції. Я вдячний кожному і кожній, хто з перших хвилин після влучання допомагає людям, хто рятує життя. Обов'язково російська наволоч відповість за цей удар. Ми знову і знову кажемо усім у світі, хто має силу, щоб зупинити цей терор. Системи ППО і ракети до них потрібні в Україні, а не десь там на складі. Далекобійні удари, які можуть захистити від російського терору, необхідні зараз, а не колись потім. Кожен день зволікання – це, на жаль, загибель людей. Вічна пам'ять усім, чиї життя забрані Росією.
Okay, so as we can see from Volodymyr Zelenskyy here, he's obviously very, very upset, and the more that these attacks take place, the more that he gets upset by this, because he's been calling for more air defense units inside of Ukraine. He's been calling for the West to allow him to go after these airfields throughout Russia, and lots of Russian targets that are deep inside their territory. And obviously, Ukraine is having to fight with one arm tied behind their back, and it's very difficult for them to defend themselves in this way when, for one, they're not given the weapons to defend themselves with, and then also at the same time, they can't go after these airfields when they have the weapons to be able to do so. So definitely a difficult situation for Ukraine right now, and I've been telling you guys this, that it's unfortunately going to require lots of people to lose their lives before any changes are made. It's just the way it's going to be. And if these changes are made when it comes to lifting restrictions on long-range weapon use to strike inside of Russian territory, it's probably not coming anytime soon. I'd be surprised if it did. But we'll talk about that some more as we move on today. So very, very terrible situation happening inside of Ukraine. And also, so now we're going to move on to another topic here. This happened last night. This was reported way late in the evening. We can see 11:19 p.m. I was hearing that there was attacks, Ukrainian drones striking the Megalovo, I think is what it's called, airfield up near Moscow. Okay, so it says Ukrainian drones attacked, I don't know if it's called Tver or Ver, I'm going to say Ver, at night. And it says the military airfield Megalovo on the outskirts of the city was supposedly under attack. There is no official confirmation. Now, I was able to get confirmation. We'll go over a report here that does show that this attack did take place. Now, we're only going to watch one of these videos because they're all basically the same thing. It's very dark, and all we can really see is Russian air defense teams trying to shoot down these drones as they're flying supposedly over to the military airfield of Megalovo near the major town of Tver. I'm going to call it Tver. So let's go ahead and watch this first video here and take a look real quick.
О, вот и рака пошла. Яичко. Рады, что не повезло. Отогнали.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop it there. Basically, it's the same thing throughout all these videos. It's just mainly we're seeing the Russian air defense teams trying to shoot these things down. We can see all these red tracers flying through the air. And supposedly there is a massive drone attack taking place on the Megalovo airfield. Now, we'll talk some more about the Megalovo airfield right now. We'll move on to that. So I've got this report real quick that we're going to go over from RBC Ukraine. It says Russia reports drone attack on airfield in Tver. So this just came out today, September 3rd, 2024. And it says right here, Tver region, Russia is under attack by strike drones. The drones are attempting to target an airfield on the outskirts of the regional center, according to Russian media. At 22:50 hours, residents spotted at least one drone flying towards the Megalovo airfield, or airbase, Before this, the sound of a drone overhead was heard. Gunfire was directed at the drone, and air defense systems are currently engaged. So I don't know how many drones were striking this airfield. We don't know if there was any damage. I don't have any reports as of yet. Maybe we'll get some more information today that comes out later, but right now, unfortunately, I don't have that information. But I did get a map pulled up here to kind of show you where this airfield is at. So Ukraine is down here, right? Let's go full screen real quick. Ukraine's down here. Here's Russia, and here's Moscow right here, okay? So it's just a little bit northwest of Moscow, up here in the Tver region. We'll scroll into the town of Tver, and it's just over here to the southwest. We can see a major airfield here, and from what I understand, this airfield mainly houses like some of the Ilyushin 76 planes, and also I think the AN-22 transport planes. So it's mainly all transport jets that we see here that you can see they're all very massive size jets. And again, these are transport planes that are mainly housed here. And what have we been seeing a lot with Iran lately? We've been seeing lots and lots of transport planes heading over to Iran. Obviously, Russia needs these Ilyushin 76 and these AN-22s to transport equipment and things like that all over their country. And then also think about Crimea right now, okay? Crimea is cut off in terms of their ferries. Their ferries have been destroyed, so they got to find other ways of transporting military equipment and all kinds of stuff around their country. And this is where one of their major bases that they use for their transport aircraft, okay? So from what I understand, again, this base coming under attack near the town of Tver, which you can see is a pretty good size city here, okay? And this is the attack where it supposedly took place. So if I get more information on strikes here, whether there was some damage reported, anything like that, satellite footage, we will definitely report that at a later time. So let's go ahead and move to our next topic here from Nexta. Evacuation in Pokrovsk. Hundreds of people are leaving the city by train. The station is overcrowded. And the photo was from Konstantin and Vlada Liberov. So this is in Pokrovsk, okay? We've been talking about this town. It's on the Eastern Front near the Donetsk region, and it's a major key town, a very good-sized town, or city, I guess I should say, that the Russians are really pushing for right now, trying to take over, and they're getting very close to this city. So if people are starting to leave, this is a very big sign that it is close to being taken over by the Russians. We can see lots and lots of people trying to get on this train, this locomotive, and get out of here before the Russians show up. And we have major fighting happening in this city. So it's very unfortunate for all these people. You know, imagine all these tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are having to evacuate out of the city. Where are they going to go? And this is a very big problem for Ukraine. Okay, where do they move all these people to, and where do these people stay? You know, what if they don't have family members in other parts of Ukraine? Hopefully they can provide a place for them to stay in the meantime until this fighting is over, and hopefully the Ukrainians are able to hold them back here next to Pokrovsk. So I wanted to share that to you guys as well. This is a big sign that the Russians are getting very, very close to taking that city. Also, from Nexta, Russians have abandoned their own no light, no water, no hope. An exclusive video shared with Nexta by AFU soldiers reveals the truth that propagandists keep silent about. Revelations of the residents of Lyubimivka, Kursk region, plunge into a grim reality. The evacuation of the village was carried out in a hurry, and many were simply abandoned. Support came only from the Ukrainian military. They supplied the locals with food and medicine. The women admit that they understand the Ukrainian language and speak it fluently themselves. So I have been hearing that there's lots of people that live in this area of the Kursk region that actually speak Ukrainian. We've seen lots of videos coming out from that a lot of the citizens do understand the Ukrainian language. But from what's being reported here, and I've been sharing this with you guys a lot, is a lot of the residents inside of the Kursk region are basically abandoned, okay? They rushed these operations to evacuate people out, and many of the people that weren't able to get out in time, and many of them happen to be elderly folks, they basically just abandoned them there and left them there. No support, no water, no electricity, no food, no medicine, no nothing, and they're having to, the Ukrainians are having to pick up the slack here and help out the people that are left behind. So go ahead and take a look at this. It's 2 minutes long.
Объезжаем сейчас деревни, города, смотрим, что и как, какая ситуация. Может, в двух словах скажете, что здесь, как наши ребята ведут себя, все ли нормально, не угрожают ли, ничего нет такого?
На нашем углу нет. Мы в начале в Любимовке, нет, там все хорошо.
Нормально себя ведут, все?
Ну, естественно. А як не нормально?
Ну, ну, мы для этого есть, мы перепроверяем, для того, чтобы знать.
Нет, мы здоровкаемся, они нам с нами здоровкаются. Если надо какая-то помощь, там хлеба, например, у нас нету, они помогали. У кумы было пристав.
Откуда вы?
Лекарства они нам это давали, чтобы снять боли. Так що нам жалуватися на наших хлопців
Ситуация гуманитарная, как у вас? Свет, вода?
нема ніхера.
Нічого у нас немає.
Нет.
Лікарства, нічого.
Ні лікарства, нічого.
Мгм. А не виїжджали, українську розумієте, так?
Ну да,
ми ж-
у нас перевертиш і український, і русський, і заміщений він. Як-то.
Ми все.
Угу. 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 А як?
Взять, наприклад, Сумах все время звав Кацоп.
Кацок.
Да, Кацоп. Говорю, я говорю, не Кацоп. А він каже, Кацоп, я кажу, Кацапа ти не бачив. Бачив, ось передо мною стоїть. Я говорю, Кацап каже,
Ой.
кого, чого, за чим.
Когда это все кончится?
А як перед цим ви тут лишилися, у вас не було ніякої евакуації, не забирали вас?
Забирали так, проїхали
У нас
бігом.
У нас, наприклад,
Ну, і
на
всё.
хуторі до них навіть не заїхали. Навіть вони не знали, що є та яка-то дорога проїхати, не знали, що вони боліли муж з жіною. У них сахарний діабет і острохондрози, коротше, і не це. А кума, вона не поїхала за те, що сказали, на 2 дня.
Багато людей в Любимовці осталось?
Да ні.
Чоловік на 50.
А було до скільки тут?
Ну, я, в общем,
Наверно.
Пару сот?
в общем-то, да не,
Наверно, 350, да.
370.
Ага. А як вони виїжджали ті інші? Своїми машинами, хто як?
Ну, у кого машини, то і виїхав.
All right, so pretty terrible to see this, right? Obviously, the residents of some of the towns inside of the Kursk region just being left behind. Now, maybe this could be a lack of resources. Maybe, obviously the Russians were caught by surprise when this whole thing took place, and they may have not had time to get some of these people out, but clearly some people have been left behind. And as we can see, many of them don't even have food, no water. And I even reported to you guys probably about 2 weeks ago or so that some of the Ukrainian soldiers were finding these conditions that the Russians were living in the Kursk region, and it is absolutely very poor in the Kursk region, at least in some parts of it. And they were seeing some living conditions where some people didn't even have running water, even prior to this incursion taking place. So definitely a very poor region of Russia that we are seeing here. And it's sad to see that the people have been left behind and basically abandoned by their government. And this also shows in a way that Vladimir Putin is obviously more focused on the war goals than he is protecting his people. At least that's kind of how I see it. But you guys let me know what you think down below. Got a few more reports to go over here. Ukraine battle map. Russia's launching Shaheeds from Belarus for the first time in the war. This is the equivalent of Ukraine launching missiles at Russia from NATO territory. Russia continues to escalate while US continues its failed policy of escalation management with restrictions on Ukraine. Now, in regards to this, I heard lots of reports last night coming out, even from ViceGrad24, who usually has very reliable information, stating that there was lots and lots of drones coming from Belarus into Ukraine. Okay, that Belarus was once again using itself as a staging ground for Russian attacks, launching a massive drone swarm into Ukraine. Now, I wasn't able to find any more information in regards to that, but again, also from Ukraine battle map, basically coming out and saying that they were attacked from Belarus as well. So is this some sort of provocation to try to get Ukraine to push into Belarus, or what is this? But this is the first time that I have heard confirmation in a while of Belarus using their land to attack inside of Ukraine. Basically, since the start of the war, I haven't heard much in a while. And maybe this is something going on, I'm not aware of this, but this is definitely very big news. And we've been hearing a lot from Belarus lately that they might invade Ukraine or what's going to happen here, because they obviously have lots of troops and equipment on their border. So I thought I would share that with you guys just in case we see some escalation coming from Belarus very soon. Also, from Nexta, Germany plans to transfer 6 Iris-T surface-to-air missile systems to Ukraine and will buy 6 more for its air force. This was reported by Reuters, citing sources. So here's a a few pictures of those systems here. So 6 Iris-T surface-to-air missile systems going to Ukraine very soon. I also have a report of a Patriot missile coming from Romania here in just a minute. So also, from Max 24, the U.S. is close to an agreement to give Ukraine long-range cruise missiles, but Kyiv would need to wait several months as the U.S. works through technical issues ahead of any shipment, says Reuters. Joint air-to-surface standoff missiles, or JASSM, I don't know if it's JASSM, in a weapons package is expected to be announced this autumn. JASSM has so far only been integrated into U.S.-designed aircraft, so maybe these F-16s could use these JASSM missiles. But here's a picture of some of the strikes that could be taking place inside of Crimea and also the Russian mainland if they are able to start getting these joint air-to-surface standoff missiles, also known as JASSM. Obviously 30 air bases, says here, including 30 air bases could come under attack, and these targets could be up to 300 kilometers inside of Russia. Okay, so we're still waiting for confirmation for Ukraine to start going after airfields inside of Russia. This could definitely be one of the weapons that are used, but this is obviously months away. We may not see till the end of the year or longer when Ukraine is able to start using these on the F-16s that they currently have right now. Okay, so also, now we'll talk about this Patriot air defense system, from Bliskovka. Romanian parliament backs transfer of Patriot air defense system to Ukraine, says Reuters. Now the law must be signed by President Klaus Lohanis. Okay, so Romanian lawmakers approving sending this Patriot missile system over to Ukraine. I heard about this a couple days ago. Looks like this is confirmed now, and Ukraine's going to be getting another Patriot missile system from Romania very soon, okay? And they obviously need as many of these as they can get. I think they were saying they needed something like 7 or more of these to help protect their skies over Ukraine, especially on the Eastern Front. So that'll be good news for them, but they obviously need more, right? So let's go ahead and move on to Iran Spectator now. Breaking news: Iran strikes an arms deal, sells Russia FAT-360 rival to U.S. HIMARS. The deal has been confirmed. Russia has purchased several units of the Iranian FAT-360. Okay, so we just talked about this yesterday. I let you guys know that some of these FAT-360 systems were going to be going to Russia very soon, and European officials were stating that Iran had basically approved this plan to send them very, very soon, like imminently. And it looks like they're going to be going over there. According to Iran Spectre, it's saying this deal has been confirmed. So the FAT-360 is very similar to the HIMARS, but we can see the comparison here. 150 kilogram warhead. I shared this with you guys yesterday. 90 kilogram for the HIMARS, so definitely a bigger warhead. Longer distance, 100 kilometers here, 70 there. And Mach 2.5 for maximum speed for HIMARS. Mach 4 for the FAT-360. Okay, so clearly the FAT-360, based on statistical data, it looks to be a better system, and we'll see if Russia is able to receive these soon, because I don't know what's going to happen with that. We were hearing that the United States, along with its NATO partners, may probably strike Iran or stop them, prevent them in some way from transferring this equipment over to Russia, that they are not okay with this. They warned of a swift and severe response if they try to send any ballistic missiles to Russia. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But according to this information, as of today, on September 3rd, 2024, this deal has been confirmed, and Russia's going to be receiving these FAT-360s and probably other types of ballistic missiles as well. So a couple more reports to go over. Next to reports again, Moscow refinery halted about half of its capacity after drone attack, Reuters says, citing sources. So this is the drone attack that took place a few days ago. I reported to you guys Moscow came under attack by lots and lots of drones, lots of different facilities being hit. We had thermal power plants being hit. We had electrical substations. We had this oil refinery in Moscow getting attacked. And it says here the refinery can resume oil refining at the Euro Plus unit only after repairs, which will last about 5 to 6 days. In 2023, the refinery processed 11.6 million tons of oil, producing 2.6 million tons of gasoline, 3.3 million tons of gas oil, 2.3 million tons of fuel oil, and 0.9 million tons of jet fuel. Okay, so definitely a massive facility producing lots and lots of oil and gas for Russia. And it came under attack just the other day, and it looks like about half of its capacity was cut off after this strike. So definitely a very big hit to this Moscow oil refinery, and that we reported just the other day. So let's go ahead and move on here. Bliskovka reports again, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is again in a high-risk area, says Enter Hoatom. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hoatom. On September 2nd, Russian shelling damaged one of the two external overhead lines through the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, receives power from the Ukrainian power grid to meet its own needs. If it is damaged, an emergency situation will arise due to the loss of the external power to the pumps. Ukrainian experts are not yet able to inspect the damaged site, as there's a real threat of repeated shelling. So we've been seeing this a lot over the last week. I just reported to you guys that the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant had the power cut off at one point due to Russian shelling. Now we're hearing that again, that some of the power lines may be damaged, and this is very dangerous. If the power gets cut off at this facility, the cooling pumps can stop and prevent this facility from cooling down, and we could have a massive nuclear event or some sort of major damage to this facility, which is obviously not a good thing considering that it's a nuclear power plant. Okay, so I wanted to report this to you guys again. Very dangerous what's happening at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. We've been seeing a lot of this over the last week or so. So I'll try to get some more information in regards to that. If we do, I'll do a separate update, let you guys know what's going on if we have a very, like an emergency situation happening here. Finally, one last report coming out from Nexta. The first underground military hospital has started operating in Ukraine. The hospital can accommodate more than 100 wounded soldiers, according to the Defense Ministry. It has surgical and intensive care units equipped according to NATO standards. So a very high-class hospital, which is the first underground military hospital inside of Ukraine. So this is very, very big news. We can see all their equipment here being set up. They can also do surgical and intensive care inside of this facility as well, and again can house up to 100 wounded soldiers at a time underground, which can be protected from aerial attacks. So this is obviously a good thing too, because Ukraine is obviously exposed to lots of air attacks. We've been seeing missile attacks, just like I reported to you here today inside of Poltava. So this is a good thing for the Ukrainian military, so the people that are suffering and trying to recover from their wounds, any of the military personnel can safely recover inside of these facilities underground. So lots of big information coming out to share with you guys today. I hope you got something out of this, but that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.